more than that. And some of them, some crocodile species, actually max out an equipment at 5,000 pounds of pressure. So went over that. So you can imagine some pretty impressive predators in the crocodilian family there. And alligators and crocodilians have been around for a really long time. And one reason why scientists believe that alligators have been around so long is because of the really good mothers. Alligator moms are really good at protecting their babies. They're going to stick around for up to 2 years protecting them. And the reason why is because there's lots of predators out there that would take a baby like that for a snack. And so they're going to be watchful and really, really good protection from predators. Excuse me. But one thing the mom's going to do, she is going to build nests of mud and leaves and all those things on land. Then she's going to stay by the nest and watch that really closely. When the babies are ready to hatch out, they're going to call to her and make a little chirping sound. And so that lets her know that they're ready. And she's going to come on over there and help them out of their eggs. And she's going to scoop them up into her really big, powerful jaws. And then walk them on down to the water and let them swim around in her big mouth in the water for a little bit, kind of like a gator kiddie pool. Let them get used to it for a few minutes before they venture out on their own. But once they're comfortable enough, then they're going to go out of her mouth, but they're going to stick close to her side. They're not going to go very far because the number one predator of the baby alligator happens to be the daddy alligator. And so it's a big deal out there because the dads, when they see a baby wander too far away, again, they won't miss that opportunity to snatch one up for a meal. And so mom does have a really big job watching after all of her babies, but she does a really good job. And as far as reptiles go, that's a pretty unique thing. Most reptiles lay the eggs and leave the babies to fend for themselves, but not so with the mother alligator. But when it comes to dinosaurs, there's been lots of debate about whether or not dinosaurs took care of their young. Well, there have been fossilized skeletons found near nest sites. And one of the things that they've discovered is that with the T-Rex in particular, they found male skeletons near the nests. And where those eggs were, huddled around there like they would have been watching over them. And so that is again a theory, but they believe that maybe it was the males that would be the ones to look after the babies as far as that goes. So they could have been totally different there. But again, we'll never know, but it's pretty cool that they found it like that. But now I want to talk about what happened to the dinosaurs. 65 million years ago, they went extinct, and there's lots of extinction theories out there about what might have happened. But one of the more popular ones is actually that an asteroid or meteor hit the Earth. And it happened really quickly. There was a big climate change, and a big cloud of dust kind of enveloped everything. And animals had a really hard time dealing with this. And so one theory is, if you are an animal that could fly, then you could survive because you could move around a lot quicker. You could get away from hostile environments. And so those are the ones that made it. So in a minute, you're going to meet our flying animal. This is the part where I asked you to keep your seats. So just remember that. She will be flying over your heads here in a moment. This is Magoo.
Big bird.
And she's our 29-year-old hyacinth macaw. She's going to demonstrate flight to all of you guys here in a second. But there is one problem with that theory, because not all of the animals that were flying did live. So there has to be more to it than this. And hopefully she'll wait for all of you guys to exit. Otherwise, don't be upset if she flies by you there. There she goes. Right. So, like I said, there has to be a problem with that, because not all flying animals did make it. But scientists think it had to do with the size of their brains. So if you were more intelligent, or you were a meat-eating dinosaur that could fly and get out of there, then you were the ones that made it. Because to be a meat-eater, you had to be smart enough to find your prey, and sometimes they cooperatively hunted together in groups, and so you had to be more intelligent.
Okay.
And as far as plant-eating goes, you were just eating plants all day long, so it doesn't take a whole lot of brains to do that. So the meat-eating dinosaurs that could fly and get out of there were the ones that made it, and so it's thought today
Are you going to put the one with Dino Quest on there?
thought that birds of today are the relatives of the dinosaurs, the meat-eating ones, from millions of years ago. So hopefully you will
Probably
fly
not
on
on
down
top
here
here.
for one more flight.
Can you send it to me?
Beautiful job, Magoo. And Magoo here, when you talk about intelligence, she's really got it. Because she's extremely smart. She's about as smart as a 2 to 3-year-old human child. So that means a couple of things for us. It means that she can problem solve. It also means that she can throw a tornado every now and then too. So we do have to keep that in mind as well.
Her tongue's another
But Magoo
hand.
came here to the zoo at 25 years old and had never really flown flown much in her life. She was a previous pet, so she really didn't need to. She had a great home, of course, but never really trained to do these really long, beautiful flights over people's heads. And so we trained her to do that in no time. And in 2 weeks in this theater, she learned this behavior. So it took her no time at all to figure it out, and she'd never flown out here in this theater before. So she has done a fabulous job, and we are really proud of her. So we'll go ahead and send her on off stage. We're doing so awesome out here. But now I want to move on from the fast-moving and the flying animals to the slow-moving, plant-eating dinosaurs. And to represent those animals, we have a plant eater over here. His name is Spur. He's an African spur-thighed tortoise, and he's got his face in his salad right now. So you can see he's enjoying his lunch right over there. But he weighs about 50 pounds. And he was born right here at the zoo, and he's about 11 years old. But he's representing these animals that have been around for 200 million years. They've been around a long, long time. Now, plant eating back in the time of the dinosaurs was not as easy as it is today, because plants were not nearly as nutritious as they are today. And so animals had to eat a lot of it. They had to eat practically all day long, and they had to be huge in order to store a lot of that food. They had to have a really big gut in order to squeeze out as much nutrients as they possibly could from all the plants that they were eating back then. And so that's one of the reasons why, when you think about the plant-eating dinos, why a lot of them were really, really big. Because of that reason, they had to be big in order to get all the nutrients they needed from the food that they were getting. And so one reason they could get that big in the first place has to do with their legs. So if you think about tiny little animals that we see, like lizards running around outside all the time, you look at their legs and they're completely sprawled out to the side, all the way out there. And that's one reason why they don't get too much bigger than they do, because they can't support a lot of body weight with those legs all the way out to the side like that. But if you look at the tortoise and you think about alligators and other animals like that, they have what we call semi-sprawled legs, which are right about here. And they can hoist their bodies up off the ground and move and support a lot more weight that way. Now, they're not as fast or efficient when they move, but they can definitely get a whole lot bigger. If you think about tortoises in general, he only weighs 50 pounds now. He will get bigger, but he's not going to reach the 400 or 500 pounds like the Galapagos and the Aldabra tortoises can. But imagine that. They do get big, and they can still move around again with those semi-sprawled legs. But if you think about dinosaurs, all the pictures you've ever seen of them, any of them that you've ever learned about, or as you walk through DinoQuest today, you could see that their legs are all underneath their bodies, directly underneath there, just like the T-Rex and that turkey as well. And so that allowed them to support much more weight and move very efficiently as well. So that helped them out tremendously when you're talking about being absolutely huge, like those big plant eaters were. Now, the biggest dinosaur ever discovered was about 70 tons, estimated to weigh that much. And it could look right into a 5-story building, so it was really tall too. But don't let me fool you, not all the dinos were giants. There were some as big as a modern-day chicken. So they did come in all shapes and sizes. And the dinosaurs are not the largest animals ever to live on the planet. Does anybody know what the largest one is? It's still alive today. It's still in the ocean. It's not the giraffe. It's actually in the oceans. I heard it over here, the blue whale, you got it. And to give you an idea of just how big that blue whale is, if you took the tongue of the blue whale, just the tongue alone, and you weighed it, it would weigh as much as that. So that's really, really big, right? So much bigger than any of the dinosaurs ever were, but still really cool. But I want to end the show with one last bird today, a bird that was very prehistoric herself. She's been around for over 50 million years, and they haven't changed much in that time. And that's this lady right here. Her name is Chanel. She's an East African crowned crane. And she's the diva of the family here. You can't already tell by that hairdo. But these animals have been around for a long time, and scientists have discovered about 11 different species of cranes that lived here in North America and in Europe shortly after the dinosaurs went extinct. However, they're not around today because of an ice age. They did not live through the ice age, whereas this species, the ones that were in Africa at that time, it didn't get too cold in Africa, so they were able to survive that ice age, and they are still here today. So we're pretty lucky to have these birds around. But Chanel here with that funny little hairdo on the top of her head, it makes her stand out here on stage. However, the purpose of it is actually to help her blend in her environment in Africa, because they walk through those really tall grasses in Africa, and they follow big big herds of animals that are walking through the dirt, stirring up all the bugs in the dirt, which is what she loves to eat. And so she follows behind them, and that feathers on the top of her head help her blend into those tall grasses. And while she gets all of the food that she likes to eat as well, following those big animals around. But she also loves to do something else, and that is to dance. And Chanel loves to dance, and she's pretty famous for that dancing over there. These birds are the national bird of Uganda for all the dancing that they do. And they get around in a big circle, and they'll bob their heads up and down and open their wings in and out. They honk and make a whole lot of noise, so it's a really cool display to see. It helps them find a mate for one another. And it's also gotten a lot of attention, like I said. And we're pretty lucky to have these birds around today still, because they've been around for millions of years and they're still doing fine. But not all of the animals that are alive today are doing so well. As you know, a lot of our animals are facing extinction right now. We have a lot of endangered species all over the world. And here at the zoo, we're involved in a lot of conservation projects. And just to give you one example, as you walk around the zoo today, you might notice some of the signs say SSP on them, or Species Survival Plan. And that is something that zoos all over the world are involved in. And the ultimate goal with that program is to help endangered species and their population numbers out in the wild. So the goal is to breed them in zoos and to have babies be able to be released into the wild to help boost those population numbers. So again, that's just one example of what we are involved in here at the zoo. And at the dinosaur show, we just wanted to talk about an animal that's involved in SSP that also reminds a lot of people about dinosaurs. And that would be the Komodo dragon. Because most people look at those animals and think that they look like dinos. And again, it's a pretty cool animal. And they're not doing so well either. And on the island where they live in Africa, a lot of native people hunt the same food source that they need. They live primarily on a species of deer over there, and people hunt for that deer as well. And because there's lots of people there hunting for the same thing, the Komodos are in trouble because they don't have enough food to eat. And so we are helping out by selling these bumper stickers, and Jess is going to show one to you. It's got a picture of one of our Komodos on it, Jasmine, and she lives over in our exhibit over there. And it says, "Forget the princess, save the dragon." And so we're selling those for $1 a piece after the show. If you want to talk to us more about that, come on up and see us. But if not, everybody, hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon at the zoo, and thanks for coming by and seeing us today. Have a good one. Thank you.
Bye.